Alright, so this is my last EDH video, because this is my last EDH deck that I have built. I am working on a Rainbow of the World, but that's not going to be ready for a long time. That's why I've been kind of holding off on this, because I don't have anything else to follow. Maybe I'll start showing off my vintage Powered by China or my modern decks. Alright, so let's get into it. So today I've got Muldrotha the Gravetide. She is a 6 casting cost, 6/6 elemental avatar. So 3 black, blue, green. And basically she says your graveyard is now your second hand. And during each of your turns, any one card of each permanent type you can cast from your graveyard, as long as she's on the battlefield. Is she going to stand up there? There we go. Alright. So the way I'm going to do this today is, she is a combo deck. Bloody hell. Just stay there. She is a combo deck, so at the end of the part 2, maybe part 3, depending on how quickly I can blitz through this, I'll show you the combo and how it works. As well as the cards I have to protect her. So let's get on with it. Island, Friction Metamorph, 3 blue or 2 life for a clone or a copy artifact, depending on what you need at the time. That can be cast out of the graveyard, and with him I can choose either artifact or creature. So I can cast him out of the graveyard and say, okay, this is my artifact that I'm casting Muldrotha for the turn, or I can say it's my creature, depending on what else is in there that I can cast or want to cast. Island, pernicious deed, the tyrannous and bloody deed is done, the most arch deed of piteous massacre that ever yet this land was guilty of. Okay, so that's why I have this. I like the quote. I don't know much about Shakespeare, but I like the imagery, I like the pageantry, I like the way it sounds. Island, Seal of Primordium. Turn on the light. So, I'm going to sacrifice it, destroy target artifact or enchantment, and with Muldrotha I can get it right back and do it again. Elendra Archmage, 3 and a blue for a 2/2 flyer that I can sacrifice to counter non-creature spell with Persist. And then the second time, I can get them right back out with Muldrotha again. So, because people are going to attack my graveyard, try to exile things. If there's a key card that I need that gets exiled, I want to have some way of getting it back. So in this deck, it's Riftsweeper, because of course he can die, and I can cast him and get that enter the battlefield trigger again, and put the card back in my library. You have my. I'm really surprised at this. This card is now down to about 50 euros reliably. A year ago I sold a near mint copy for 150 euros. A few months later I bought a near mint copy from my LGS for 2,000 crowns, which is about 80 euros. And now it's down to 50. Do people not know what this card does? Or is it simply they don't know the card exists? Anybody playing green, I don't understand it. And anybody with any expensive green cards, say a foil Creditor Hoof Behemoth, foil Avenger of Zendikar, anything like, if they're running that and they don't have a holo, I don't know why they're spending money on this reprintable stuff and not getting a holo. It's fantastic. I mean, 1 green, regenerate target creature, it doesn't come into play tapped. It's fantastic. Forest, so I chose the Exelon Forest, Swamps, and Islands for this deck, and I was able to foil them out. Kind of a neat thing. This is the only regular commander deck I have that has all the basic lands foiled. My Hobbit deck, I foiled all the basic lands, but that's Lord of the Rings. That's a separate entity from the rest of my collection. Our Military Sphere, so I can find basic lands. cast it, go find more. So all the ramp in this deck is permanence. Life for Little. Now, I've got a friend who plays Muldrotha, and the route he chose was mill. A lot of people don't like mill. They don't like it at all. There's just something about seeing their cards slowly go to the graveyard, especially if they don't have a lot of recursion, they don't have a lot of ways to recover. It upsets them. It upsets them a lot. So what I decided to do is go for dredge, just mill myself. For, you know, people know Muldrotha is already powerful, and then you add mill, and that gives them another reason to attack you, and so they do. So my buddy gets piled on a lot. Vora Stronghold, I haven't checked the price on this for a while, but I'm sure it's dropped too. So if a creature's in my graveyard, I don't have Muldrotha, I want that creature back, I can put it on top of my graveyard from my library. Say Golgari Grave-Troll. If I want him back on top so I can dredge him. Actually, I wouldn't do that. I need him in the graveyard. Yeah. Eternal Witness. Something else I did as a side note. I started getting a lot of these Ultimate Masters cards. And so everything in the deck that I wanted that had been reprinted in Ultimate Masters, I went ahead and got those versions. Foils, if they were affordable at the time I was doing this. Because I like to switch up the art in my decks. I like to have different depictions of the card. I like to have them feel different by the art, if not some of the cards, because yeah, a lot of my green decks have an Eternal Witness. So I don't want them to all look the same. You have my coast. Add 1 colors to your mana pool, or add green or blue and it does a damage to you. The pain of the land. Erratic Portal. So return any creature to understand unless the controller pays 1. If your opponent taps out and they're not paying attention, or they're tapped out and you cast this and they can't do anything, you can start bouncing their creatures back. But mainly it's for mine. Mainly it's for mine to get another enter the battlefield trigger on whatever it is I want to trigger. Reflecting Pool. I don't think they didn't reprint this in UMA Ultimate Masters, otherwise I would have got that version. I think half are this version that I own and half are Shadowmoor. I think I split it right down the middle. Swamp. So there's that Ixalan Swamp. And I like the Minium art. For the islands in the forest, I chose Rule Vitae for both. I just like the way he did that. I like that Jade Jungle Temple look. But the swamp, I don't remember what the other swamps look like, to be honest. I just know that this is my favorite one, so this is the one that I bought. High market, add a colorless to your mana pool, or sacrifice creature, gain a life. No, you will not be swords to plowsharing, whatever you're trying to plowshare. I'll just gain a life instead, you bastard. Phyrexian Tower. So the foil of this was, at the time, and probably still is, quite expensive. So I just got a flat copy from UMA. Underground River. Yeah, this is thrashed. Let's take a look at this. I don't know how well you can see that. That edge, yeah, this river's been beat to hell. But it is an intact card. Still Ice Age. Still does what it does. Still gives me colorless or pain for getting blue or black. And I love it. I love it. That's my favorite Underground River, is Nina Thomas. Reclamation Stage, speaking of enter the battlefield ability, 2 and a green. Blow up an artifact or enchantment. Let it die. Get it back. Do it again. Hey, look, another swamp. Vampire Hexmage. This is my Planeswalker killer. That's pretty much why she's in there. Utility of sacrificing her, remove all counters to target. Hey, your Planeswalker doesn't like you anymore. He's got no loyalty. Put him in the graveyard. There he is, Golgari Grave-Troll. So dredge 6. Enters the battlefield with +1/+1 counter on it for each card in my graveyard. I can remove a counter and regenerate him. I've never done that. I've never cast him as a creature. Ever. He's just there to dredge 6 and to keep filling my second hand. Command Tower. I think by now, anybody watching these, they just look, yeah, skip the command tower. We know what it does. We don't like looking at it anymore. So this is something I put in just for fun. Overtaker. So 1 and a blue for a 1/1 Spell Shaper. Not a wizard, Spell Shaper. Some unique to Mercadia creature type. 3 and a blue. Discard a card from your hand. Untap target creature and gain control of it until end of turn. So this is a way I have of getting Wonder in the graveyard, of getting Golgari Grave-Troll back in the graveyard after I've returned him to my hand with Dredge. I can pitch it to the graveyard and then steal somebody's creature and smash them till end of turn. Any creature. It's kind of fun. Most of the time there's not something like an Ulamog or a Blysteel Colossus that really that's really fun to smash somebody back with. Yeah, I'm going to hit you with your own Colossus. How do you like the poison counters, you bastard? Usually it's just something small for fun. Havengul Lich. 3 black-blue for a 4 for a zombie wizard. Spend 1, you may cast target creature card from graveyard this turn. When you cast it, he gains all activated abilities of that card until end of turn. To be fair, I don't play Muldrotha that often, and the few times that I have, he either hasn't come up because I didn't need to cast him with everything else I wanted to get into play. So I've never really seen this ability in action. I've never done that where he gains all activated abilities of a card, of a creature. So I'm still wondering how useful that is. It's nice to have that utility, it's nice to have that option, so I keep him in there. Acidic Slime, 5 for a 2/2 Death Toucher. Comes into play, destroy artifact, enchantment, or land. Land destruction, I'm the bad guy. Right, so I don't want people blowing up my graveyard, but I have to consider how to blow up somebody else's graveyard. And that way is no-hill spellbomb. So sacrifice it, exile cards in target player's graveyard, and if I pay black when I do this, I get to draw a card. Or actually, you know, if somebody's going to disenchant it to blow it up, you can still pay black and draw a card. But invariably I sacrifice it in response to whatever kind of destruction is going on in order to have the ability go off. Okay, Forest. Polluted Delta. So for Muldrotha, again to make her feel different, I got these Zendikar Expedition Special. Anyway, I bought these special fetch lands because the price had fallen from their high at the time. Yeah, pay 1 life, go find an island or a swamp, sacrifice this. And then with Muldrotha, I can play it as my land for the turn and go do it again. Archaeomancer, Uma. 2 blue for a 1/2 human wizard. When it enters the battlefield, return target instant, sorcery card from my graveyard to hand. The most spectacular use I got out of her was returned Memory Plunder, and then I cast, I can't even remember, that the hell with it. Anyway, let's keep going. Soul Ring revised. 1 tap, add 2. Ghost Quarter. So yeah, need a way of dealing with special lands. I play Cabal Coffers in this deck, so I know how that can be. Damnation. The secondary reset button to the Pernicious Deed. destroy our creatures. I wish they would bring back bury. They can't be regenerated. Just say bury. Use bury as a keyword. Bury all creatures. 3 words, that's it. No extra lines. It makes it cleaner, more elegant, I would think. But I'm not in charge of wizards. If I was, things would be different. Animate dead. 1 and a black. Enchant creature into graveyard. So confusing text. 1 and a black. Bring a creature out of graveyard. Attach animate dead to it. The creature gets -1, -0. Everybody forgets about that. Including me. And it's in Muldrotha, so when that creature dies or if the animate dead gets disenchanted, I can just cast it back with Muldrotha and do it again. Burgeoning. This is fantastic. This, if any of you play Thawing Glaciers and you're not playing a Burgeoning in the same deck, if you can support it, you're missing out. Especially Thawing Glaciers is then fantastic. So Thawing Glaciers goes back to your hand. Your opponent on their turn they play land. You play the Thawing Glaciers again. Comes back to your turn. Now you've got the untapped Glaciers and you bounce it back after you go search for land at the end of your turn. And you can just keep doing it. And that's the specific thing, is the Thawing Glaciers interaction. But otherwise, if you have a handful of land at the beginning of your turn, and you can cast Burgeoning in the first turn or two when everybody is trying to ramp up, everybody is trying to play their lands, you'll catch up pretty quickly. And because you need her in play, and she costs 6, and you want to have at least 1 other mana available to defend her from the inevitable targeted removal, you need to get your lands out quickly. You need to pump up your mana base in this deck. Survival of the fittest. 1 in a green. Green. Choose and discard a creature card. Search your library of creature card. Show it to everybody. Put it in your hand. Shuffle afterwards. Alright, my camera's going to shut off, so we're going to go to part 2. Bloody hell.